Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I thought I'd answer this question. I got this comment, I think, in the Facebook group, the Simple Programmer Facebook group. If you're wondering what I'm talking about that, you can check out the Patreon page. I don't talk about it that much anymore, but that's the way currently to get access to the Facebook group. You might, by the time you're watching this video, have a different way to do that. I haven't released that. There's about a couple hundred people in the Facebook group right now. It's a very tight-knit group of people that want to help each other and learn from each other that are part of the Simple Programmer community. So if you want to join as a way in, it's a good way to get some interaction with other community members. Myself, I'm in there quite a bit as well. So, but I find some good questions and good stuff from that, and I think this one came from that. I believe so. And the question is, John, what was it like when you made your first million? Before you made it, was it one of your main goals? Did you feel a sense of financial freedom after you hit that number? Can you give any advice for how your mindset was at the time to become financially free? So I thought this was good because I don't talk about this a lot. I don't do videos on what's it like to make $1 million or to be a millionaire or multimillionaire, because that's not really helpful a lot of times, I think. I don't know. It just seems, I don't know, it seems weird to make videos like that, but I get a lot of questions like this, so I thought, okay, fine, let's answer this. Let's talk about what happens and some thoughts. And I've talked about some of this a little bit, but so some of you might be like shocked, but I'll tell you my story a little bit and what kind of happened and what it's like to have achieved that goal and where I'm sitting at now, okay? So I've always, when I was young, pretty far back, or like maybe I was like 19 or so, that's when I bought my first house, okay? And I kind of got out on my own about that time, and I bought basically a house because I didn't want to rent. I didn't have any like big aspirations of being a real estate investor or anything like that. It just made sense to me to not rent. I didn't know what I was doing, but that was a kind of a lucky, smart move there to buy a house, and that eventually got me into real estate. But very quickly on, okay, I learned that I wanted to be free of the rat. I wanted to be financially independent. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted with my time. And I sort of, I did this video a while back on how everyone thinks that someday they'll be a rock star, right? There's a lot of people, in fact, I'm gonna probably do another video. I was just thinking about doing a video about like people saying what their retirement goals are, or the millions of dollars they want to make. And I want to do a video that says, well, how the fuck are you going to do that? Because I don't see any plan that you have, okay? Because a lot of people still have this mindset. They think that someday they're just going to suddenly get their $3 million or $10 million or whatever it is. And it's just not going to happen, right? It just doesn't happen. And I'll tell you why. And this is actually the realization that put me down this path, okay? So I was 19. I got this job offer for this company, a contract position to move to Santa Monica, California, and it was to be paid $75 an hour. Okay, $75 an hour. I didn't know jack shit. Okay, you can watch the story on my career story series if you want to see how I stepped through my career. I cover all that. But essentially, to make a long story short, what I discovered when I was making that money was I started doing the math. I started doing the calculations, and this is where I had that reality moment, because I was like, okay, well, I'm making like what, $180,000 a year or something like that. It was crazy money. I was getting a lot of it per diem, so it was tax-free. So I was like, okay, I did the calculations and I said, well, what if I save, what if I can live off of a very small amount of money and pay my taxes, and then I can save like $100,000 a year. Okay, let's just say the number. It might have been, my calculation, I might have come up with like 80,000, but let's say 100 because it'll work with that number. I can't remember exactly what it was. But so I did a calculation and I was like, okay, well, how long before I become a millionaire? Well, it's pretty easy math. If you save $100,000 a year, let's say, it would take 10 years to become a millionaire. But there's a problem, which is inflation. And so in 10 years, getting $1 million is not getting $1 million. It's going to take more like 13 or 14. You're going to need like 1.3 or 1.4 million dollars to be the equivalent of $1 million in that day, assuming that inflation is like 3 or 4%, right? There's like a rule in there. I'm not going to go to the details, but I'm sure you can follow me on this, right? So basically what went through my head was, okay, in order to be just a millionaire, which isn't rich by any means, it's just to be a millionaire, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to keep this ridiculous job that I like lucked into, to be honest with you, right? And I'm going to have to work my ass off for the next 13 years, let's say, and I'm going to have to save a majority of my money, live on a very, very small amount of my income, right? Living like a pauper while I'm making all this money for 13 friggin' years, keep the job, nothing bad happened to me, right? And then I'll be there, right? And then is that even enough for me to just like retire? Maybe not, probably not, right? Because I have to invest that money. What am I going to do with that money? How am I actually going to get a return? I can't just start spending that money. So that was a shake up reality moment to me. It was that moment where I realized, no. Everyone thinks they're going to be rich someday. Everyone thinks they're going to be a rock star someday or a movie star. Not going to happen. It's really not going to happen. Like, you already are making a shit ton of money. Some of you are like, right now, you're like, oh, damn, you're really ruining my day. I'm sorry, but you're already making a shit ton of money is what I was thinking to myself, like way more than you ever expected to make. I mean, you're expecting to make, you went from like $50,000, $60,000 a year to $180,000 a year. Do you really expect to make more than that? And you're gonna have to work your ass off for 13 years and hold on to that in order to be able to do that. And that's not even, $3 million. That's like, plus you don't have a plan for investing. So that was that wake up moment that made me realize that, look, I'm gonna have to figure out some other shit than this, right? Just going the regular job route, it's not gonna just magically fall into my hands. Something has gotta happen. And so at that time, the only thing that I knew to do was to research and to say, what do rich people in America, how did they make their money, okay? And that's where I got into real estate investment. This is where, way back then, I was studying Trump. Okay, way back then. That's when I was 19, 20 years old, and he was a name that came up all the time. I read a lot about him, read a lot of his information, his books and stuff, and learned a lot and respected the guy, to be honest with you. Like, that's, for a long time, I followed this guy, okay? But there were others. There were other people that had done real estate investment who had made a lot of money. And so I studied it, okay? And I said, this is the ticket. This is the way. This makes sense. This can work. If you want to know about my real estate stuff, you can check out all the real estate videos I've done. I actually put a course for software developers called Real Estate Investment for Software Developers, which you can check out as well. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. What I want to talk about is what ended up happening. So I basically had this plan, okay? I came up with this plan. I said, okay, I'm going to take that money and I'm going to save as much of it as I can, and I'm going to put a down payment on the house every year, and I'm going to put, down payment, I'm going to basically buy one rental unit or one house, one property every single year, and I'm just going to keep on doing this, okay? And then within like 15 years or so, that first house that I bought is probably going to double in value. It'll be halfway paid off, or well, it won't be quite halfway paid off, but you know what I mean. It'll probably have at least doubled in value, and I could sell that house if I wanted to, take that money, live off of that money, and I can just keep on doing that perpetually. And by the time 15 years passes, I will be financially free, essentially, right? I'll have retired, right? And I'll eventually make millions of dollars. In worst case scenario, if that didn't happen, then in 30 years, I would be retired. I'd be financially free because I would have the house paid off, the first house that I bought, and then the next year I'd have the next house paid off, right? And I could just sell those things, or I could collect the rent from it. So I kind of ran the numbers, had a bunch of spreadsheets, and I said, okay, this could work. And so that was my plan, right? So my plan was essentially, can I get financially free? How can I do that? And that was my dream. And so for the next, 13 years, 14 years, that's what I worked for, right? I didn't do it perfectly. I'm not gonna say I didn't play some World of Warcraft, okay? I did. I played some Magic the Gathering. I goofed off some. I was a lazy ass for some of the time, but I did buy a house pretty much every year. I did buy property every year. I worked my ass off at my job. I saved as much money as I can. I lived as frugally as I possibly could, and I learned lessons along the way and became better at it, and became more frugal and became better at investing. But that was my dream. What I was trying to do was I just was living up to this point where one day I will own my time, I will be free, and I can just live on a beach and just play video games all day and have my time, and that was my dream. Okay, then things started to accelerate. Okay, I started doing some business stuff on the side. I started marketing myself. I'm going to plug all my courses here. I got a course on how to market yourself as a software developer, right? Because I put that course together because I learned a bunch of shit, and I actually brought my income up way above $200,000 a year, okay, by applying some of that stuff, okay, and making some income on the side and doing some contract work and billing out $300 an hour and all kinds of stuff like that. I've got a video on do you really bill $300 an hour? No, actually I bill a lot more than that now, but that's what I was doing at the time. And so I also did some Pluralsight courses. I'll plug all those. You can check out all my Pluralsight courses here. All the links are in the bottom, by the way, if you're on a mobile or something like that. I'm not going to use end cards. No, I won't. Because I want to link to the videos and the thing. The end cards don't work right. They're only at the end. That's stupid. But anyway, I ended up doing Pluralsight courses. I made a lot of money from Pluralsight, I'll be honest with you. They've paid me over $1 million. Okay. And it helped me to pay off my real estate early. So right around, I guess it's been like 4 years ago, I started to approach that financial goal, right? I was getting to this point where I was like, oh, like pretty soon here, you're gonna retire. In fact, I think about that time, I basically hit this point where I was making enough money from Pluralsight, I was making enough money from passive income from real estate, and my number was to have about $10,000 a month. Actually, it was originally $5,000 a month was when I was financially free. If I had passive income from real estate that on a 24-month rolling average was $5,000 a month, which I hit that number, okay? And then I later revised that to $10,000 a month because that would be the comfortable number, okay? But I started to get close to that number, and I realized I was going to hit that number, and I was getting a bunch of passive income from Pluralsight, so I quit my job, and I basically hit that point where I was going to retire. And right before I hit that point, and right before I really was able to quote officially retire and be financially free and become quote a millionaire, I had this bit of a panic because I realized that, whoa, you've been working for 13 years, 14 years trying to hit this goal. What's going to happen when you get there, man? Like, all this, like, you know, and I'd been through this before in life, okay? And I'll tell you this is why, you know, it's a long story, but I'm telling you because I had done in the past, I'd been through this multiple times, but one of them that I remember, one of the worst ones, was I did this 3-month fitness challenge, okay, where I basically like dieted really hard, did a lot of workouts, really super strict diet, and I won the competition, okay? And I did a big transformation, you know, I'd gained some weight and I lost that weight. And I remember the day after that competition, I felt like shit. I felt horrible, okay? Because what had happened was I was working so hard towards this goal, and then I reached that goal, and then I had nothing to live for. I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but if you've ever been there, that happens, okay? Because when you have a goal and you're just striving all your energy towards that, and then you achieve the goal, it's actually a very sad moment because if you don't figure out a plan ahead of time, right? I'm not saying that you have to go down that road, but I did. I didn't know, and I ate like shit afterwards. I just felt bad. Nothing made me feel better, and I just felt so guilty because I'd worked so hard and I was ruining it and I didn't have anything to shoot for anymore. And so I saw that coming with the retirement thing, with the goal, because again, this was a goal that I had been working towards for 14 years, if you can imagine, right? That I'd really sacrificed for this goal. I slept on a fucking mattress on the floor. Like I went without a lot of stuff. I was making good money and I didn't spend that money. I saved all that money, pumped all that money into real estate, into investing. I spent hours, you know, working 80-hour weeks, doing Pluralsight courses, doing all this shit to get ahead, to get to this point. And I realized, I said to myself, I started doing this exercise when I was getting close. I said, okay, if you woke up with $500 million in the bank, what would you do with your life? And at first, you know, and this is a good exercise for you to do, but at first I thought, well, I would take that money and I'd start a business and then, you know, everywhere I went with that, I started to realize it was like, well, wait a minute. The end goal of whatever I would be doing would be to make money. But that's the reason why the number was 500 million, because I realized that if you have 500 million, what do you really, you don't want to do anything that's going to try and make you more money. And so, you know, and I thought about, well, we'll play some video game. That'll get boring after a year. Live on the beach. yeah, okay, but then what? And I started to have this panic moment. And that's where I realized that, like, I had to figure out kind of what my purpose in life was. And I sort of went through this kind of drifting period. So it was sort of, it was not this amazing thing that I thought, right? Well, I don't even know the point where I, quote, became a millionaire. I don't know where that point is. I don't know, at some point, I was a millionaire. At some point, my real estate assets and enough money was paid off, and I had enough money in the bank and assets that I had, $1 million on paper. Okay, I don't know exactly where that was, right? It wasn't this big crescendo moment that I expected where, like on World of Warcraft, when you gain a level, it goes ding. It's like, ding, you're a millionaire. It didn't happen, okay? And it was scary because there was kind of this like loss. It's kind of like, well, what the fuck do you do now? Right? You think you want this freedom, and it's great to have freedom. I think a lot of people can't handle freedom. I did a video on most people can't handle freedom and why. But it's sort of this scary moment. And I don't know when I became a 2 times millionaire. I think my net worth is probably about 3, about now. But I don't like that didn't. It wasn't this big, huge thing, okay, that happened. It was not what you expect. It wasn't like you have this friggin' party, right, and you buy everyone steaks and Dom Perignon, and you're like, oh, welcome to the millionaire club. It's not like that at all, right? But what I did was I had to do a lot of soul searching, okay, and you've seen this happen in the last few years, if you've been watching these videos and you've seen the kind of transformation and growth that I've gone through as I've sort of transitioned into this, and I'm still transitioning, I'm still getting used to it, right? I'm still working my ass off to some degree, maybe not as hard as I was before, but there's something that's shifted, there's something that's different, and this is what's critical. This is kind of the lesson, the story out of this. I think that you should all strive to become financially free. I honestly do, okay? But there's a couple of things. One is this. Just like I said, it's not magically gonna happen. You're not someday gonna become a rock star. You're not someday gonna become a millionaire. You're gonna have to come up with a fucking plan that is going to get you there. You're gonna have to do the math, bust out that fucking Excel spreadsheet and run the numbers and realize that saving $20,000 a year is not gonna get you there. You're gonna need to do something. You're gonna need to build a business, you're gonna need to invest in real estate, you're gonna need a lot of time, right? Either a lot of time or a whole shitload of action. That's what it's gonna require, or a buttload of a waterfall of fucking luck. It's gonna have to be one of those things or some combination of those things. And I'll tell you, don't count on the luck one. Don't count on winning the lottery, right? And even if you won the lottery, you wouldn't enjoy it because you wouldn't have earned it. And that's a whole another depression that you would go through. Trust me, you don't want that one, okay? But you got to figure that out, okay? Think about this shit, right? It's just not going to happen. You're not going to become a rock star. You're not going to suddenly become a supermodel. You're not suddenly going to lose 100 pounds. You're not suddenly someday going to be a millionaire. The only thing you're guaranteed to be later in life is fucking older. So just remember that, right? That should scare the shit out of you right now. If you're thinking that someday you're just gonna get your turn, it's not gonna fucking happen. You're gonna have to make it happen. That's why I made this channel, okay? So that's number one, is remember that. That's kind of the lesson there. The second one is this. Okay, and this is what I had to discover, and this is what breaks a lot of people. A lot of millionaires go down the tube. A lot of athletes, a lot of famous people end up going down the tube because they're shooting for the fucking goal all the time, and they hit the goal and they hit the next goal and they hit the next goal, and they start to feel empty and they run out of goals because their life is all about getting to this location as opposed to, and I'm not going to say enjoying the ride, although that's part of it, living the life, but it's to fulfill your purpose, right? And so what I started to realize, what I started to connect with, what I started to realize as I did that exercise, thinking about the $500 million in the bank, is that no matter what the fuck I'm doing, I'm going to be teaching someone. I'm going to be enthusiastically learning stuff, and I'm going to be sharing it with people. I'm going to be helping people to live better lives. This is what I want to do. I want to get out. I want to perform. I want to get in front of people, and I want to inspire them, and I want to teach them what I know, and I want to simplify things, and that's my purpose. No matter where you put me, right? No matter what's happening in my life, no matter where I've been in my life, I've always been about that thing, and that always fires me up. Not every day am I super fired up, right? But that's the thing that's going to sustain me, right? Because it's not a destination. It's not a goal, right? When you shoot for a goal like I just want $1 million, I just want $3 million, I just want to retire and be financially free. It's good to have those kind of goals to have, but those are not the things. Those are not the things that are going to fulfill you. Right? Because when you get there, that what lies on the other side of a big goal like that you put all your energy for is emptiness and sadness. And trust me, you go into deep damn depression when you hit those goals if that's the only thing that you're going for. Those are great milestones on your road. And your road is your purpose, and you got to figure out your purpose. And I'll tell you, I did a video on how to figure out your purpose. You can check it out here. I'll give you the quick of it, which is simply this. Think about no matter what position, no matter what you're doing in life, what job, what role, what would you do? What could no one stop you from doing? What would that be? That's your fucking purpose, right? Think about that. Think about what you always have to do. And for me, it's very easy. I cannot keep my fucking mouth shut. I have to share what I'm learning. I have to try and help someone who needs help and improve their life. That's what I inspire people. That's what I'm about, okay? So that's the second thing is discover that, and then that changes that changes things. Okay, so now, yes, I still have other goals, right? I still have things I want to do. I want to make more money, right? I want to hit different milestones, right? I've got different plans. I've got them written on my wall. Okay. But those are milestones. But what I really want to do is my purpose, which is I can always do that. I'll never ever fully fulfill that, and it grows in depth, and I learn more about it, and I learn more about myself, and I develop myself as I'm doing that. My road is to constantly improve myself, to constantly be able to deliver on my gift, on my purpose better. That's my mission, right? That I will never achieve that, but I will always be achieving that, and that's the key that will keep you going. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's all I got. This is kind of a long video. Thanks for sticking with me. I know that some of you have been curious about this, but that's what I got to share from that. And I just want you to know, like, you know, if I can do, I guess one of the reasons why I don't want to necessarily do videos about, you know, what's it like to be a millionaire, all this kind of shit, is because that's not important. What's important is that, like, I want you to know that it's not just that. It's not just hitting that goal. Like, you got to figure out a way that you're going to do it if you want to do that. But there's more. There's more. When you get there, you're going to have to figure out now where to go. I've been there, and I've stood at the crossroads, and I've looked down into the abyss and said, whoo, I've had a close call where I said, wow, I could see myself falling over that, and I figured out how to not. So I'm telling you ahead of time, so you don't get there and have that same experience or a worse experience than I did. You know ahead of time now. You know that this is coming. If you're going to hit your goal, you're going to have to face this question. You're going to have to face these earth-shattering moments. You know, most people are too busy living their lives, going to work 9 to 5 every day, dealing with the kids, picking them up from daycare, going to college, doing all this shit, that they don't stop to think about this. What if you had the time? What would you do? What would your life if you owned your time, if you owned your life? Okay. So I'll finish this with one last thing. What's nice? What's nice about this? Okay, if I don't want to get up and work, which, you know, most of the time I do anyway, right? I don't have to. That's awesome. That's great. It really is. I don't have to worry about my future. It's secure. Of course, in order to get there, I had to get to the point where I don't give a shit. Like, if I end up homeless, fuck it. Life is still going to be fun. I'm ready. Whatever you throw at me, fortune, fate, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm not going to like it all, but I'm ready. But it is kind of nice to have that level of security, be able to buy, you know, pretty much what you want. Like, I don't buy a lot of stuff. I drive a 11-year-old car. Okay, so I don't have, but you know, I want an Oculus Rift or a new computer or something. I just get it. Like, it's not a big deal. So that's great. Okay, don't have to worry about bills. No stress about that. No fighting about money or finances. That's great. Okay, so I think those are positives, right? I can go and travel the world. I can take time off if I want to. Those are all very positive things. So those are good. Those are good things about reaching this point. And I know that's really what you all wanted to know. but that's it. It's not the magical super, you know, I don't know. Maybe being a billionaire is a totally different thing. Maybe being a decamillionaire or whatever. I don't know. But I've talked to enough millionaires, I've talked to enough deca millionaires and ups to know that it's not a lot different. It's not, right? The more that you have, the more that you have to protect and defend, and the more challenges that you're going to have as well. So, you know, you've got to really work on you, not the goals. You got to work on improving yourself, and that's a goal that you'll never fully reach. You'll never fully reach that. So, I hope that helps some of you. Okay, and I hope that answers some of your questions. And if you got more questions, leave them in the comments below. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video and I'll answer some of the questions from this video. I think that would probably be a good idea, because I know that a lot of you have a lot of questions spinning in your head. You can always email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. I'll probably send you back a form email that says fill out a Google document, so it'll get on my Trello board. That's how I process my questions. But yeah, I think this was fun. Told my story. All right. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Click that subscribe button. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.